If you've been scrolling through endless kayak options, watching video after video of people paddling away, and still feel stuck on whether a pedal-driven model is worth the extra cash, you're not alone. The decision feels especially heavy when you picture yourself out on a lake at dawn, rod in hand, trying to stay steady while the fish bite. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'll walk through exactly what makes the Brooklyn 12.5 single-pedal fishing kayak tick, where it can trip you up, and who should really consider it before you click add to cart. First off, the biggest hesitation most newcomers have is the pedal drive concept itself. Traditional paddle kayaks are cheap and simple, but they force you to keep one arm busy the entire time you're trying to cast or reel. Pedal kayaks promise hands-free propulsion, but they also come with a higher price tag and a learning curve that can feel awkward if you're not used to a cycling motion while seated. The Brooklyn's flipper pedal system claims a natural walking motion, meaning the foot plates move back and forth like a regular bike, but the pedal strokes are shorter and more relaxed. In practice, that translates to a smoother, less tiring ride once you get the rhythm. If you've ever tried a pedal kayak that felt like you were pedaling a heavy-duty treadmill, this one feels noticeably lighter. Now, let's talk about the hull. At 12.5 feet, the Brooklyn sits in the sweet spot between a nimble daytour kayak and a more massive fishing platform. The length gives it decent glide, so you don't have to constantly chase the water's momentum. On a calm lake, you'll notice the kayak cuts through with just a few pedal strokes, preserving your energy for the real work casting and waiting for the bite. On choppier days, the same hull adds a bit of stability, but it's not a monster that can handle big surf. If you plan to launch from a shoreline with a gentle ramp or a small boat trailer, the size is manageable, but keep in mind it still needs a trailer or a dolly for transport. Steering is another area where the Brooklyn tries to stand out. The precision rudder is controlled by a foot-mounted handle, letting you swivel the kayak without taking your hands off the rod. In real-world use, that means you can keep a line tight on a big bass while adjusting your position to follow a school of fish. The rudder's responsiveness is solid, a light push yields a clean turn, and it snaps back quickly when you release. However, the system does add a small mechanical complexity. If you ever get a knot in the rudder cable or the foot lever gets stuck, you're back to using the foot paddle to maneuver, which can feel clumsy. Storage is where the Brooklyn really earns its serious fishing badge. The kayak boasts multiple hatches, a rear cargo area, and built-in rod holders that lock securely into place. I've seen anglers load up a tackle box, a cooler, a small grill, and still have room for a spare life jacket and a couple of spare rods without the deck feeling crowded. The 550-pound capacity means you can bring a partner or a hefty amount of gear without worrying about overloading. The trade-off, though, is that the storage hatches sit low on the deck, so you have to be mindful of water ingress when paddling through splashing waves. In calm conditions they stay dry, but a sudden gust that sends water onto the deck can pool around the hatches, so a good dry bag is essential. Who should buy this kayak? If you're an avid freshwater angler who spends whole mornings on a lake, likes to cast multiple lines, and hates the fatigue that comes from constantly paddling, the Brooklyn hits the sweet spot. It's also a solid choice for those who need to transport a decent amount of gear. Think a small cooler, a fold-up chair, and a handful of tackle boxes. The hands-free pedal drive lets you stay focused on the water, and the built-in rod holders keep your lines organized, so you can react quickly when a fish hits. For hunters or birdwatchers who need a quiet platform that can sit low in the water and stay still for hours, the pedal system also offers a quieter alternative to a motor, though you'll still hear the faint click of the pedals. On the flip side, skip it if you're a casual paddler who only gets on the water once a month, or if you're primarily looking for a cheap entry-level kayak. The Brooklyn's price sits above the typical budget paddle kayak, and the added mechanics mean there's more that can go wrong. If you're comfortable with a simple paddle and don't need the extra storage or the hands-free benefit, you'll likely find a paddle-only model that gives you similar on-water enjoyment for a fraction of the cost. Also, if you're planning on tackling surf or whitewater rapids, the hull's stability and the pedal drive's low gear feel aren't built for that level of